The Marais is a district that's probably one of the most famous walking districts in Paris, and for good reason, because it's full of history, beautiful architecture, some of the oldest buildings in the city that are still standing, and some of its most famous monuments like Notre Dame and me. See, look, I'm standing here right now. Aren't I cool? Anyways, we're gonna do the Marais today, just a little walking tour. There are about a million different ways you could do it. Some more cliche than others and some a little bit more fun than others, but we'll just give you some basic ideas on where to get started. And really what I would say for the Marais is just walk around, appreciate it, and then leave for dinner, because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get out of here for dinner. We're gonna stay in the Marais. You'll see, we'll talk about it. This is Paris in My Pockets. Guide to a day walking around in the Marais. Hope you'll enjoy it. Let's start by getting coffee. Obviously, if you're gonna get started early in the morning, as you should, to make sure to avoid the crowds that the Marais tends to draw, grab some coffee. The classic spot that you're used to, that you've seen a million times in my vlog if you've watched it over the years, would be the Peloton, but you might not recognize it behind me because they've undergone a bit of a facelift. And by a bit of a facelift, I mean a major facelift. The whole thing inside and out looks completely different. The only thing that's the same is the location, the yellow stools, and the lovely faces that you might recognize inside. They also don't even have waffles anymore. You might think of them and think waffles in the same sentence. That's largely probably my fault. They don't have them anymore, but they do have some tasty, tasty toasted croissants, which, stuffed with goodness, hopefully, stick around. Anyways, we should start walking. Let's go to the islands. Oh no, first let's go to Merveilleux. Just across the street is Au Merveilleux, which they make Merveilleux, the delicious sugary treat, but one of the other things they make here that I would recommend you try is the chocolate brioche, which is insanely huge. I think it was like €4.20, and like you could feed a family of 7 with this thing, so it's good, it's tasty. They're all over the city. This isn't the only one. There's like 15 of them in Paris. If you didn't get enough coffee at the Peloton, or you want to start on the island and work your way north from here, which is basically what we're going to be doing, Noir is a great spot to stop, grab some coffee. You've seen them in my coffee shops video around Paris. Be sure to check that out. And make sure to grab my guide if you want to know where all the coffee shops are around town. Get parisinmypocket.com. Just go, grab it. You won't regret it. The islands are really a nice place to walk around. Ile Saint-Louis is the smaller of the two. It's the more residential. It's famously like the smallest neighborhood in Paris is what a lot of people will refer to it as, whether or not it actually is. It doesn't have any public transportation on it. There's not much traffic. It can just be nice to stroll around. So once you pop over to Noir and grab your coffee, then come over here, enjoy the view of Notre Dame being in construction right now, and we can go around. We can't go into Notre Dame. Hopefully in 2024 we'll be able to, but it doesn't mean you can't appreciate the view as you walk around the outside. And then you head a little bit north, just across the river. Hôtel de Ville is one of the most slept on buildings in the city. It's gorgeous, it's huge. It has a long history that actually, I don't know that it rivals Notre Dame's, but it is fascinating. Look into that. Check out the bullet holes on the northwestern corner. As you'll see, Paris doesn't pave over its history, generally, until they build like some horrifying skyscraper on top of something, but that doesn't happen every day. Some World War II bullet holes, and that leads us into the shopping portion of the Marais. BHV in the Marais here is a really amazing department store, I'm not gonna lie. And it is kind of like the wonderful soul of, the wonderful soul of the Marais in a way. Like it's something that we rely on for so many random little things while living in Paris, because you can get kind of anything there, including bathrooms. Kate wanted me to throw in there that up on the top floor near the lingerie, so be careful, but near the lingerie are the free bathrooms. So if you gotta sneak in, you're feeling a little bit desperate, wander on up. There is some food, there are some drinks. It has the Perchoir, which is one of my favorite views of the city where you can get a drink. Just gonna have to wait in line. There's a lot going on there. This is basically our day in illustrations, this little illustrated map section, except for the Eiffel Tower, which is nowhere near where we're gonna be. Don't let movies fool you. Like the Fourth, that's really nice. If you love the Fourth, if you love the Marais, this would be a really good souvenir up here in the illustrations section on the 3rd floor, I think we are. No, we're on the 2nd floor. American 3rd, European 2nd. And you're gonna find some really, really fun stuff. There's a video where I was out here filming and I forgot the memory card for this camera, and this is where I rushed into to buy a memory card so I could actually get the video done. Good spot.
It's also a great spot to come if you need souvenirs for people and you don't feel like running all around town. They have kind of everything that you would need on the different floors, so it's perfect for last minute gift shopping.
It is, and I like it. Like, look at all these little paper things, like paper Eiffel Towers. There's a paper Wallace fountain.
Look at this one. It's so cute.
That's great. Lots of good stuff in here. It's a great one-stop shop. If you're, yeah, it's actually a really good way of putting it. If you're pressed for time, it's a good spot to come. Oh, they've got Reese's peanut butter cups in case you missed those. It does feel nice to sit. Oh, that is surprisingly comfortable. And only 179 euros. I feel like I've got better posture already. The kind of main thing that I would say for shopping, there are some really fun thrift stores in the neighborhood, and there are some fun boutiques and shops still, but the Marais for me has lost a little bit of its shopping soul because it is full of chains. So I'm not a shopping expert, take it with a grain of salt, but I would say that a little bit of the fun mom and pop stuff has been pushed out by real estate prices and so forth. So do kind of keep that in mind, I suppose, as you enter in. But the BHV, it's great. And you know what else would be VHV great? Lunch? What am I saying? The Marais is traditionally the Jewish and gay district, so you're gonna find a lot of really good gay bars and a lot of really good falafel. There are, of course, a range of opinions on where you should eat falafel, and here are my falafel smashes and passes. Pastrami smash, pastrami pass, smash. Lasty Falafel is the one that everybody knows that ChatGPT told me to go to as well, and it is good. You just want to make sure you slather that red sauce on, but the reason that I would actually come just a little bit down the street to Chez Hannah is they grill aubergine. So if you're a big fan of eggplant, they'll put a slab of it in with your falafel. I love it. I think it's delicious. At the top of Rue des Écuffes and Rue des Rosiers, that cross right there is where you'll find Lasty Falafel. Turn left, you'll find Chez Hannah, but right in front of them, you'll find Miznon, which is our go-to general favorite. It's a really good spot to get like beef bourguignon and a pita, lamb kebab, some really delicious stuff. Definitely high on the list. We would have come to lunch here, but we're gonna do something a little bit different today for lunch because we're craving a little bit of Mexican. The Carnavalet is one of my favorite museums in the city. It just reopened after I think 5 or 6 years of renovation. Beautiful. It is a museum of the history of Paris. I made a video about it. You can go watch that right now. It's huge. I haven't even finished it yet. But I got all the way up to the French Revolution. Pretty magical stuff. Place des Vosges, the oldest planned square in Europe, reputedly. Depends on who you ask, but I like to believe it's true. Some of the most expensive real estate in Paris, and one of the first places that the public could come in an open square like this, and a great spot to get on the grass. You can't get on the grass in every park in Paris, but you can come here, have a little picnic. In the summer, the fountains will be on. Really, really nice. Come sunbathe, enjoy your time here, relaxing in the Marais. And yeah, once you get out of the Carnavalet or whatever it is you feel like doing, this is an absolute must, even if you're just gonna stroll through the archways around the side or go through the secret entrance over in the corner to a secret courtyard. I'll let you discover that on your own. Of course, in the corner is the very famous Victor Hugo Museum. It's phenomenal. You get a view of the square from up there, which is cool. It's the only way you're really probably going to be able to get into one of these houses while you're here. And if you notice that Kate's been popping around taking photos with me as we go, that's because she's doing that for my newsletter. If you didn't know I had a newsletter, that's because I do a terrible job of promoting it in general. But we have a few thousand people that read our newsletter every day that Kate puts together. She does a wonderful job with it. And you can get a little bit of a different perspective as well because she does a lot of the writing for it, including Kate's Corner. So if you're interested in what a 20-something woman's perspective would be on life in Paris and some other things than just what Jay thinks all the time, Kate has a lot to offer. And the newsletter as a whole is also pretty great. Comes out twice a month. It's not spam. Nice, long, enjoyable read with some beautiful photos. Go subscribe. jswanson.me is my website. There's a newsletter subscription form there. You'll find it. It's going to work out just fine. If you want to scratch that interior church itch that you might have that you can't quite satisfy because Notre Dame is closed, then might I recommend St. Paul. St. Paul has its own metro stop. It's a fun little area. And of course, it's a church you can go inside. There's also a really fun spot to come if you come for Nuit Blanche in Paris, which is a night where artistic things are happening all over the city. They usually do something really interesting here, and it's just a nice little spot to pop in, get some quiet, and then move on with the rest of your day. Speaking of quiet, one last little recommendation here about the Marais. Maybe don't do it on a Monday. This neighborhood, I mean, Paris in general is a struggle on Mondays, but this neighborhood in particular, dead on a Monday. Like there's nothing going on, which can be nice if you're walking around and just enjoying the sights. You're not so worried about finding exactly what you want to go into, but a lot of shops, a lot of restaurants will just be closed. So be aware. Mondays in the Marais, stay away. Now we're walking into the third, which has been referred to as the Haute Marais. The weird thing about the Marais for me is that traditionally it's always been in the fourth, and the third has had its share of nicknames next to it, but is becoming known more and more as the Marais, which works out for our purposes today because normally I would say get out of the fourth for lunch. There are good places to eat, we've shown you a few, and I have some favorites that I do like going to, but generally all the best stuff is going to be just a little bit north. So we're walking along Rue de Turenne. If you're ever interested to know which arrondissement you're in, of course, on top of those street signs you'll see a nice little hat that has the number of the arrondissement sitting in it. So we know we're in the third now. We're going to get lunch, as we will also get dinner outside of the Marais. People call it the Marais now. We'll take advantage. As if to prove my earlier point, Distrito, where we were headed for lunch today, is closed. And it's a Tuesday. Turns out they're only open for dinner on Tuesdays. But thankfully, we have my guide, we have my Mapster, which you can get if you're a patron of mine. And thanks to today's patron producer, Derek Filkoff, one of my more recent patrons at the Wanderer level or above. They all have access to my Mapster, which has a ton of options for lunch, as well as my guide. So we're good. Let's go grab lunch somewhere else. One of the benefits to walking up into the third is that you can just throw a rock and hit a good restaurant up here. So many great things to try. Even if they're not in my guide or in my Mapster, there's a lot of fun stuff you can explore and discover as well. It's one of those big things that I want to make sure to emphasize in all my videos, or at least along the way, is that I'm giving you like my recommendations as I go, and I think they're very good. I stand by them, but at the same time, there's a million different things to explore and to make Paris your own city as you wander. So use this as a loose template, but we're in a dumpling bar called Mao. We're gonna get some dumplings, some duck tacos, and some popcorn chicken because we deserve it after all the walking around we've done so far. Then we'll head back in, maybe catch a museum or maybe watch a movie. Watch a movie, we're not watching a movie. There are some very small independent movie theaters, but I need food and we'll regroup and talk then. Of course, just down the street, if you're feeling like something a little bit more French or maybe a variety of international treats because your family can't quite agree on what they should eat, come to Marché des Enfants Rouges, the market of the red children. Not kind of as weird as it sounds, don't worry. It's a wonderful spot that's full of a variety of restaurants as well as some vendors of like fruit and fish and that kind of stuff as well. You can get burgers, sandwiches, Moroccan, French, wine, beer. It's kind of all here. So this is a great spot to walk through. It is really cold right now, so we didn't want to sit outside. But if you do want to go through, even for a photo or just the experience, it's very famous. And while again, it's in Temple and not the Marais technically, who cares? We're up here, we're wandering around, it's really good. And then around the corner is Square du Temple, which is a nice open park. So if you get a burger here or something that you want to eat, but in a more open environment, you can take it to go and sit in the park and enjoy your lunch with all the local French office workers who are trying to soak up as much sun as they can before they go back to the tragedy that is light from their computer screen.
Give them the pro tip, if they come get Moroccan, they do really good to go, and you come to the back, you can get it to go really quick instead of waiting in the long line in the front.
Nice. Just look for the little takeaway sign.
With all the wandering around, of course, we're working up quite the appetite. And normally I would say dinner and then drinks, but we're going to a spot that does dinner and drinks. Terra, wine bar and restaurant combined. Let's go.
Les oiseaux du lac pic-pac, pic-pic. Glou, 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 font tous les dindons. Et la jolie cloche d'une dindon. Mais boum, quand notre cœur fait boum, tout avec lui dit boum, et c'est l'amour.
We brought Fred with us to Terra, our last stop in the day. It's time for dinner. We've come to a restaurant that is connected to its own wine bar as well. They have a wild selection of wine. So full disclosure, they invited us to come and they have been nothing but hospitable. It's been really, really nice. The wine we picked up, basically Fred said it was going to be on the funkier side, and it is on the funkier side. There's so much happening in this wine.
There's a lot going on.
It feels related to almost like a spirit to me. Like
Yes, and there's reasons for that. Okay. So the presence of the barrel and how it reacts to a filament or a lees, which is essentially like when wine is in the barrel, there's a certain amount of empty space that they'll leave for the wine to become oxidized, right? So the oxygen is hanging out with the juice, and it creates this quality that we call oxidization. It's really tricky to just narrow down how to explain what oxidized smells like. But it's essentially the combination of air time and the time that it spends in the barrel. So this is in the barrel for 5 years. And so that's why it has this crazy, almost petrol-like aromatic quality. So because it's a cooler climate, we have tons of acidity, we have tons of minerality, we have like it's incredible terroir in or just earth in the Jura. This is crazy wine. There's very limited quantities of this. They don't have much land to make wine to begin with, so the fruit that they have is often even in. I think the largest domain in the Jura is only like 30 hectares, and you can have somewhere in the Languedoc or Roussillon is like 100 hectares. So this is super tiny, and it's not going to stay around very long. So it's really exciting whenever it shows up.
A little bit of context. I brought my buddy Fred along, who is a sommelier. He's been working in wine for a long time, and he has a much better vocabulary for wine and a deeper understanding, more personal connection, I think, than I may ever have, but I aspire to about 1/10 of what you've got. I don't think I can get much beyond 1/10 of what he's got. However, it's a really good insight. I think it's time to go from wine to food. Unfortunately, the one thing I was really excited about, the pleurotes, I just filmed a lot of footage of them preparing these mushrooms, which look phenomenal, and unfortunately they're already sold out. So that's the one thing we're not going to get to try tonight. However, we are going to get through as much of whatever else we can as possible and let you know how it is.
Œuf, confit, parfait, Saint-Jacques, so scallops, and cabbage.
Wow. I got a scallop. It's got a very meringue texture. What is that? Oh, it's a sabayon. I love sabayon. Oh my gosh. Anyways, this is delicious. So it's a blue cheese.
It's a white blue cheese.
That's a spike right through the palate. That's really, really good. Let me try the last one. And this is the cabbage. I'm not a big fan of cabbage. I think I don't know, as far as like the texture, I've got I don't know, maybe cabbage killed a cousin of mine and I didn't realize it. There's something going on in our history, but we're gonna give it a try here. Wow, I did not expect that at all. The entrees are very good. I would call it a resounding success. We got the salmon and the dough, but I don't know how long they cooked it for, but this is incredibly tender. It's falling apart. Oh. And it's exactly what you'd expect, but also like delightfully saltier than I expected. Salmon I'm pretty picky about. Yeah, that's a really good salmon. Also, what is that creamy sauce? Squid ink and cockles? I don't think I can say that without getting demonetized. It's really, really good. One of the things we didn't realize before coming here was actually that everything's made in 2-person plates. So it's really good to share between 4 or 2 people, whatever we're eating.
It's like caramel air.
And gluten-free. And that should do it. If you want a drink at the end of the night, whether that's cocktails, a wine bar, or a pub, make sure to go to ParisMidPocket.com right now. Check out the guide. And otherwise, thanks to my patrons for sending us out to do this. Thanks to you for sticking around through a very long day in the Marais. And bottoms up.